And we're live.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Kipper stream. And it looks like we have a new leader of UKIP. That's right, it's Mr. Richard Brain. Let's all do a crab dance. Woo!
Yeah, it's such crazy news because I was not actually expecting the result to be that clear-cut.
Yeah, so 53% of the vote he got, which by any counts is a landslide. I think you'll agree. So let's have a look at the full results, if I can find them. Does anyone have them on hand?
I've got them.
I got them.
Shall I do it?
Go for it, Matthew.
Right.
It's Brain on 2935 with 53% of the vote. Vacker on 1134 on 20% of the vote. Walker on 753 on 14% of the vote, and Hookham on 717 on 13% of the vote. Total votes cast 5,539. Spoilt ballots 194. And I calculated earlier that Brain's clearance, if you take into account the spoilt ballots not going towards him, his clearance of actually winning over any other candidate, if any other candidate had absorbed Thacker, Walker and Hookham, was about 2.5%. That was his clearance. So he would have still done it if he was running against some kind of hybrid of those other candidates.
Well, there you go. Even if they had like a super transformer candidate between them all, they still wouldn't have. They still would have lost. So there you go. It just shows the undeniable power of Brain. Really, that you may try and spite Brain and attack him, but it's just not going to work. Brain's just too powerful. His IQ is just too high.
I am reading the comments today as well. So.
Oh yeah, please read the comments when they come through, Matt.
Okay.
So this is obviously a glorious day for UKIP. We're all reveling in happiness right now. What a tremendous, astounding victory this is by Richard Brain. This is next to Winston Churchill in World War II, I think, in terms of its magnanimity, if that's even a word. I'm sure there's a word similar to that, but I can't think of what it is right now. But respect though to Freddie Varcher, who got 20%, which is actually a fairly decent result. That's a fifth of the votes. So that means the Kipper stream, we've actually had the top two candidates on our show, which is good.
Almost makes you think.
Sorry,
I said it almost makes you think.
Yeah, well, there you go. Just shows how influential the Kipper stream is. So,
haven't you heard we're irrelevant?
We're irrelevant.
We're irrelevant.
According to who?
Certain members who shall remain unnamed.
Are they the same ones that appeared in our Southeast Conference episode by any chance?
Yeah, most likely, and a few more.
Should I read some of the comments?
Yeah, go on, go for it. Let's hear some sour milk, Matt. I want to hear this.
Okay. I'm just a man said, now get to work, Brain.
Okay, don't quite understand that.
Okay, an Irish Nirvana said, how does it feel seeing Hookham on the bottom? And well, he ran a good campaign. You can't really fault him in any way. But I think probably that TV interview that he did back in the European elections probably didn't help him.
Well, I think you can fault him in a few different ways, to be honest. Matt.
Okay, I'll let you point them out because you've already upset everyone. So
I remember in one of the hustings when he said something like, they were saying, do you think Islamification is a problem in this country? All the other candidates said yes. And he said, Islamification? What Islamification? I don't know what they're talking about. We need to talk about Brexit.
Yeah, he said trade, didn't he? Didn't he say it was the number one existential threat or something? And
yeah,
and he didn't quite validate that very well. But anyway, I mean, it's good of him to stand. You can't really fault him for trying.
Well, this result is actually exactly how I want it to go. Obviously, I wanted Brain number one. I thought Varcher was the next best candidate. I thought Hookham was the worst by far, and so I'm glad he came bottom. Walker, again, I didn't really like him. I thought he was very manufactured, and didn't really have anything other to say other than just saying grassroots again and again. So he came second to bottom. So I think he's a slightly better candidate than Hookham. And so it's kind of the perfect result, I think. Brain, Varcher, Walker, Hookham. So that's exactly how I would have fixed the result myself if I was to like decide it myself.
Yeah, makes you think. No, no. Okay, Morris Minor says, "Good news. There would have been people leaving either way. Principled people would have left if anyone but Brain won. We will now see how principled the anti-Gerard people are." That's Morris Minor. Hella Boy 123 says, "Media establishment, but a blackout I think it means put a blackout on Gerard. Now he's back in the shadows. UKIP will take back control." Oh yeah, he did mean that. What else have we got? Okay, Jay Curtis says, "Hello. Does this mean that the party will continue in the same direction, anti-Muslim, further to the far right?" I'll let you two run with that because that feels like a question to answer.
Let me answer that one, Matthew. We will be going into a very much Islamophobic direction, and I'm of course in full support of that. But we will of course tackle many other issues apart from just the Islamification and the grooming gangs, etc., etc. We have a beautiful manifesto, which I don't actually have in this drawer, which I thought I did. But it covers many different issues. But as Islam and Islamic extremism will, of course, be one. So, yeah, we won't be shying away from any of the tough issues like Hookham and Walker, I believe, didn't really want to tackle.
An Irish Nirvana says, "Southeast Conference," he said, "the trade threat." So there you go. So that's correcting for whatever we didn't say correct about Hookham.
Sorry, say that again. I didn't catch it.
An Irish Nirvana said, "In the Southeast Conference," he said, "the trade threat was the number one threat." And Michael wants to be on the stream, so someone bang him in. Okay.
Nah, don't let him in. He's not allowed.
Do you know what? I thought he was at work, so obviously this reaction has been so wonderful that he's run home. He's run home to come on the stream.
Yeah, he's at work. He's pulled over the van. He's like, "I can't take this. I have to be on the Kipper stream right now."
What's this?
So can we get Michael and then can you send the link to him?
Michael Palmer, right?
Michael Palmer, yeah.
The beach dancer says, "If UKIP is going to be a taboo busting radical party, will others resign?" And then they said, "Will Brain create a team to stand for the NEC?" Well, we can't do that under the Constitution. I'll just quickly answer that. But that doesn't mean that Brain supporters cannot run for the NEC, and the elections are later this year. The party needs unified management. That's the beach dancer saying that. And Morris Minor says, "Make Islamophobia a respectable position again. Dare we take back the term Islamophobic? It needs to be done."
I think we need to embrace the term Islamophobia and just say, yes, we are an Islamophobic party and proud of it. How about that?
We used to have. I mean, Bill Maher, the liberal, is Islamophobic. John Cleese, the comedian, is Islamophobic. I don't know anyone who isn't, except possibly the radical left at this point, and possibly the Islamic community themselves. But even some of them are Islamophobic, as we've been finding out.
Any religion which says, "I will cast terror into the hearts of the unbelievers, therefore strike off their heads and strike off their fingertips," I'm proud to say that I do not support that religion.
Oh, that sounds pretty peaceful to me. That's how I greet my neighbours in the morning. Funny enough, they don't talk to me. No, where are we? What have we got? Jay Curtis. "Okay, thank you for the answer. Do you think Tommy Robinson should and will become a full-time member?"
Okay, well, I already know this. Richard does not support Tommy becoming a member, but he full-heartedly supports Tommy's cause, the issues we talk about, and he believes he was a political prisoner, I believe. And so yeah, he probably won't become a member, but we will definitely support him wherever we can. I was just thinking, why don't we actually try and call Richard Brain just to see if he answers? And if I can get him on speakerphone, we'll just ask him a couple questions.
Okay.
I doubt he'll answer because he's going to be inundated with people right now, but you never know. Okay. I've got him on speakerphone right now. Very tense. He's not going to answer.
Hi there.
Oh, Richard, you're live on the Kipper stream. Do you want to say a few words?
Great. Yes, I do. I just want to say thank you to everybody who voted for me. Thank you to all Kippers, even if you didn't vote for me. I want to unite the party. I want to say thank you to the other candidates. We had a very, I think, very excellent contest, and I enjoyed it, and it was a really interesting experience, and I'm very happy to have come through without supplementary votes being counted, and now I really hope that I'm going to be able to unite at least the great majority of people in the party, and we can continue and do better at getting our manifesto and policies out there for people to see that we're not a far right or an extremist party. We are a far moderate party of patriots who believe in Britain.
Perfect. And when can we find out your first appointments?
Probably Monday, probably.
Oh, fantastic. Well,
there will be some issues about appointments, as I understand it, so it may not all go smoothly. But yes, I aim to start dealing with that as soon as possible. Obviously, some roles will change quickly, and many won't. I think continuity is important, and if people are doing a good job, they should be kept in their roles, regardless of their points of view.
Fantastic. Well, we hope to hear from Jim as well, because it would be great to hear from him also. So
yes,
we look forward to your leadership, Richard Brain.
Thank you very much. That's very kind of you to say so. I look forward to it. I'm going to absolutely do my best to represent the views of the members, because UKIP is its members first and foremost, and that's who I aim to serve in the best way that I can.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, Richard.
Thanks a lot, Damien. Good to hear from you.
Okay, cheers. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
That was great. Thanks for that, Damien.
Straight from the horse's mouth.
Okay.
Live, an exclusive on the Kipper stream. Okay.
There you go. Makes you think. Okay, so in the comments we've got Jay Curtis, and he was aiming this at Richard, but it's we've got no way of actually communicating directly with Richard, Jay. So
sorry, before you do that, I've just seen Michael there, and he seems to be wearing a certain pair of sunglasses.
I certainly am.
In fact, we should all be doing that in celebration of Richard winning. Hang on, let me get my shades too.
Oh my God! Please tell me you all have them.
This is such a momentous occasion, right? I'm actually going to wear a fedora. That's how I feel right now.
Where's my hat?
This is not good optics.
The one downside about
for
his glasses is
Brain.
I can see jack all in his glasses. That's the one downside. But I don't care.
So,
Long live the brain.
Oh,
4 years
So,
of brain.
we're live on the Kipper stream, wearing fedoras, drinking whiskey straight out of the flask, like we don't give a crap, because Richard Brain's just become UKIP leader. What more do you need to know? 53% landslide.
He came second. Even that beat my expectations. I didn't think he'd have enough to come second, but holy crap! Oh mate, I'm gonna have a good day at work. I'm telling you. I'm just gonna have a smile on my face the whole shift. It's gonna be great.
Okay.
I want to make a quick point, actually. So you might remember a lot of people obviously have been saying that the whole reason that Brain has won is because of his Batten appointment. putting him as deputy. But the funny thing is, before Batten even announced he was standing, he actually said that I think someone did a poll. I can't remember if it was on Wire. I don't think it was on Wire. And
oh yeah, I remember. I need to rejoin Wire.
I think it was on Twitter, and what Brain did, I think Brain came in at about 80% of the choices for leader. This is before Batten was deputy, before Batten was prevented from standing.
Before he announced that he was standing.
Yeah. So Brain was massively popular right to start.
Yeah, I mean, it was quite funny actually, because I knew Richard was standing before Gerard, and I was actually really excited about Richard. And then we heard Gerard was standing, and then we found out we got blocked, and it was kind of like a big punch to the face or a punch to the nuts. And so when Gerard originally came on the scene and announced his leadership, I was a bit like, oh, I was kind of like, I was on the Brain train at that point. But then it's sort of come full circle now, and it's like, oh, we're back on the Brain train. So I don't know. It feels sad because of Gerard, but it feels good because Richard Brain is the man, and he's someone we've had on the Kipper stream 2 times now. He's the only returning celebrity guest on the Kipper stream. So, again,
Makes you think.
something going on there. Makes you think, doesn't it?
Yes, yeah. I suppose we should go back to the. Oh no, I was going to come in on Kentley's point there. People did say to me when it was still going on, who's going to run? We'd like someone like Richard Brain to run. And this was people who were relatively what you would describe as moderate. They wouldn't necessarily support Batten, but they would support Brain. And then you had people who would support Brain, who would support Batten, who would support Brain. So hopefully he'll bring together at least 70, maybe 8% of the party. And hopefully he'll bring together 100%. But realistically, 70 to 80%, I think, is a good hope of a number.
Yeah, I mean, we will get some resignations for sure. People who do not see the strategy of talking about tough issues as a positive thing. People that just want to talk about Brexit.
Hey,
Well,
it's the parrot. Hey. Did you say Brain parrot?
I suppose should I come back to the comments? I suppose.
Well, sorry, I lost my thought then because of his parrot. But
yeah, so did I. That's why
I've got the full image now.
Yeah, but basically, yeah, there will be some resignations. But because of these people, they only want to talk about Brexit, really, and I understand that. But it's probably right that they join the Brexit Party because that is their natural home. And so I don't see it as. It sounds harsh, but I don't see it as a major loss losing these people because they're in the wrong party anyway, in my opinion.
Yep.
Go on, carry on with the comments.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, no,
I'm very unapologetic today. I'm very happy.
Okay. So I was on Jay Curtis's comment. He said he was addressing Richard, but we'll have to fill in for Richard. How will you defeat the Brexit Party? I'll tell you what, I'll reel off a few and then you can come back to whichever ones you like. So you've got that one, the one about how we defeat the Brexit Party. You've got the beach dancer who says...
Let's do one at a time.
Oh, okay, one at a time. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we will defeat the Brexit Party. I think they'll implode by themselves purely for the fact of Boris Johnson taking their ground and them not being able to talk about anything other than Brexit, and also having former communists in their party. So I don't think it'd be UKIP's role to destroy them. I think they'll destroy themselves. And yeah, we've just got to build on our base and just keep on doing what we do. I think we need to take back ground that For Britain have been gaining, and sort of make sure we are the party that talks about these tough issues. And you don't have to go to a fringe party like For Britain to have those views expressed.
I was going to say, I wouldn't worry about For Britain too much, considering the last image Anne-Marie came out with made her look like a mob boss, where literally 2 goons stood behind her. Like, it was...
No,
if you haven't seen the image yet, it's quite impressive.
No, but we need to make it obvious that we are the party who has those issues in the bag, and you don't need to go to a party
Yeah.
like For Britain. Because I know after the after the Gerard Batten thing, a lot of people have thought, oh, UKIP, they're not willing to talk about tough issues because they don't even want Gerard Batten. Well, we've got to say to them now, actually, we do care about these issues. So get back on the train. We've got Gerard as leader. Don't go to For Britain because they will have good activists, and I'd rather have as many good activists as possible.
Okay. I want to slightly disagree with you, Damien. I think we can beat the Brexit Party, and I think we can beat the Brexit Party because what we are in now is an Apple 1990s situation. I've been studying the Apple, Microsoft, Google war, and you've got to kind of imagine. The Brexit Party is kind of Google in this instance. It's relatively new.
Yeah.
It does things quite differently, and it's really got its own way of doing things.
Well, UKIP must be Hewlett Packard at this point.
Well, no, we're kind of Apple because what Apple does is Apple then suddenly it gets Steve Jobs. So let's all chip in and buy Richard Brain a nice turtleneck. It gets Steve Jobs, and then Steve Jobs turns it around by coming up with quite specific products that people don't necessarily know that they need. They're not normal talking points. They weren't what Apple was already marketing, and basically it changes the whole dynamic. And suddenly Google go, well, what the hell happened there? And Microsoft is the conservative party. It's been around a long time. It holds that trench water, but whether it wins the battle against Google in this scenario, and I should point out this is a scenario, so I'm not slandering any of these companies at all. That none of these companies are associated with this stream in any way. There we go. So basically, what we've got now is we've got this situation of an old player, a new player that's slightly more efficient, and an old player that's lost a bit. And if we get our bit back, if we bring out the iPhone, the political iPhone, suddenly the other two have to start paying attention. So let's pray that Richard Brain can. Well, we don't need to pray; he will do that. And let's see what happens.
I think... Sorry, finish your point.
No, go on. That's where I was finishing.
I was going to say, I have an email here from the supporters of Gerard Batten email. And apparently there is a new organisation within UKIP that has been founded called Integrity. And apparently this is like a momentum style thing from what I can see here. And it says, integrity exists to be the radical heartbeat of UKIP. Integrity was founded in early August 2019 after the NEC undemocratically refused to allow Gerard Batten to put his track record and vision for UKIP before the membership during the July-August 2019 leadership election. It's quite a long email, so I won't go through it all. But basically, it looks like we have our little action group just in case, the NEC ever decide to try and attack us again and not allow us to vote for who we want to vote for. So looks like we have our own little movement, like momentum in UKIP now, which is kind of funny.
Okay, shall I come back to the comments?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so we got the beach dancer. Are there plans to use internet tech, regular streams, discussions, voting on ideas?
I'm going to take this one.
Go on then. Yep.
So I've been talking to Brain quite a bit about internet technology and web technology because obviously it's my field of expertise. And yeah, he's fully on board with pushing forward with that kind of stuff. We talked about quite a lot of it in our interview with him. And it's actually quite interesting, some of the stuff he's come up with. I sent him a proposal for a direct democracy type of app, just a whole plan of how it would work. And he seemed quite on board for that. It would probably tie in with that whole thing he talks about with the glory points, his forum, which might need a name change, but good idea in the concept. And he's got his whole canvassing app and all that. But I think a lot of the other ideas there. So I'm not sure about regular streams. Brain's not really talked about that, but I'm sure he'd support us.
Oh, we'd love to do that. If we could get a stream from Richard like every month or couple of months, that would be fantastic, wouldn't it?
That would be brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been putting together a sort of plan to try and get the party back on track and reformed. And one of the things is regular updates from the leader and from NEC possibly, just to try and try and tell the members where they are and where they're going.
Definitely the NEC, definitely, because the NEC have always been like way off in the shadows, like never really knew what they were going, what they were up to, and that. I think Batten did pretty well when it came to regular updates and that. Like you'd get at least 2 or maybe 3 emails from him a month, so he did pretty decent in that respect.
Yeah, I just want to replace the emails with videos because a lot of people don't read the emails. I started reading the emails when I joined UKIP. I was reading every single email. And like the last 3 months, I've read the summary versions on Facebook that people are complaining about. Because I just don't have time to read the full emails most of the time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, like sometimes, especially the main party ones can be quite a lot in them, and half of it's just kind of like stuff in the background that doesn't really matter, so you don't really read it anyway.
Well, no, Gerard did do. I mean, they weren't like the most exciting to read, but he did make everything pretty transparent and tell a lot of information. But if we could get Richard to do a Kipper stream every month, that'd be even more epic. Let's face it.
Okay, the comments have just gone mad all of a sudden, so I'm going to have to reel off more than one at a time. Otherwise, we'll never get through them.
I'll go through it as well and see if there's anything you missed.
Okay,
well, let me have a look at this thing.
An Irish Nirvana says it looks like YI is imploding with basically all of the council positions resigning. We need to get Brain to help out there. Michael Ward says Brain is more leader material, in my opinion. Level-headed and sensible. Freddie is too eccentric. Hella Boy 123. We need to change the media output because all they gonna do is make UKIP look bad, and anyone else who has any other views or basically any non-PC mainstream media views. Jay Curtis says, do you think that Nigel Farage might want to rejoin UKIP, and would this be a good thing? I'll answer that. No, he's not going to rejoin.
No.
He's got his own corporation now where he's of his kind of weird CEO frontman kind of guy.
Yeah, and can I point out something with Nigel Farage quickly?
Okay,
he actually stopped a Tory being elected in Brecon because of his antics. And now, because of him, there's less likely chance of Brexit happening because of him putting his ego before the good of the country. So the Brexit party, it looks like, is actually going to take a lot of votes from Boris Johnson, meaning Brexit is going to be more watered down. So screw you, Farage.
Well, since we got to a slightly safe place in the comments,
I was about to say, actually, I was looking through the comments, and I'm just like, there's a certain lack of certain individuals in the comments this stream.
But anyway, coming back to the Tories, if you actually look at the policies they've announced, they're kind of making a complete hash of this to an extent, but they've done it really quietly. So they've made a quiet hash, and that's quite worrying to me because that could either, well, that's why I don't blame Farage for sticking around. Sorry, I got a bit excited there. I don't blame Farage for sticking around because I would, because Boris is making kind of a hash of it. Like one of his first.
How is he making a hash of it?
One of his policies that he announced yesterday was basically more immigration, and that's
no. What has he said? All he said was we're going to have less restrictions on high-skilled immigration, and to me, there's nothing wrong with that. If we want to have the best scientists in the world, it only makes sense to have the high-skilled immigration.
Well, that would make sense. That would make absolute sense. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
But the trouble is the way they define high skilled.
No. They honestly, when they define it like PhDs and stuff like that. They're not going to just say, "Oh, you've got a level 1 diploma in plumbing." No, it's high skilled. Trust me.
Okay.
Priti Patel is Home Secretary, and she's actually pretty based when it comes to politics in general. So there won't be no nonsense going on. This is a separate topic, but I actually think there's a lot of cynicism from Kippers about the Tory party and Boris Johnson's Tory party, anyway, is what I'm referring to. Because they are actually doing a lot of good things. They're putting billions into a plan for no deal. And so I think we shouldn't be so cynical at this point. We should see what Boris does on the 31st of October.
Yeah,
and
I
then
was
make
gonna,
a
s-
judgment.
I was going to say, since it's Boris Johnson's Conservative Party at the moment, I'm fine to give them some leeway and trust. But if it was anybody else, then hell no. I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him. But since it's Boris, like, I think given the stakes against him and the Conservatives at the moment, I think he's likely to be the one to force through. And there was an article that came out, I think it was through the Express, they like a high up judge in that basically said, yeah, there's nothing that can stop Boris from pushing through a no deal. Like, there's nothing that the Remainers can do about it.
And while we're on a complete side tangent, I'm just about to come back to the comments, but while we're on a complete side tangent, yesterday a story came out that GDP, the economy shrank. And I've got news for you. No one cares. No one cares. Do you know why no one cares? Because real-time wages have gone up. Isn't that fantastic? Yes, there we go. Right, but do you know what? I expect so many Romanians to just throw bricks at walls and I don't know, do whatever they do, you know, just scream at random things. Oh no, the economy shrunk. Oh no. Well, sorry, I think the you know the builders and the plumbers and the carpenters and well,
Just the
basically
working class
everyone,
in general.
but basically
Yeah.
the working class in general, they're feeling
Yeah.
pretty good. And if you have to pay 5p more for your coffee and you're earning 30-40k a year, well, I'm sorry. But my heart doesn't particularly bleed for you.
And
Anyway,
next
that was
thing you know it, house prices will be going down too, and young people will actually be able to start affording houses.
Yeah.
Jesus,
I know,
it's going to
right?
be terrible.
yeah, I know. This sounds diabolical. How can we allow this to happen? I don't know.
Will
Anyway,
somebody please think of the avocado sandwiches?
did you see that story the other day that the avocados aren't actually vegan or something? There's something to do with the way they process the avocados that mean they are not vegan. So that means all these vegans who've been going, look at my avocado thing and this avocado thing. You've all been eating meat byproducts in some or dairy byproducts in some strange form you didn't know. So I don't know. I think that's well, I don't know. I'll be a mid-20s California girl for a minute and say that's the universe laughing at you.
Well,
Okay.
avocados are the most disgusting thing I've ever tasted in my life. They literally taste like you're eating candle wax. And I've never tasted candle wax, I have to admit. But if I did, I imagine they would taste like avocado.
Well, that's like my relationship with Stella. Like, to me, it tastes like piss and battery acid. I've never tasted either of them, but I'm pretty sure if I did, it would taste like that.
Can I take issue for a second with Kentley, who is not wearing either sunglasses or fedora? You should be celebrating right now. Do you not
I
own
am inside, but I can
sunglasses?
find the sunglasses if you want.
Yes, put your sunglasses on immediately. We're on the
Look even
brainwave here.
1%
It's a
swagger.
celebration.
We'll come back to the comments section. King Europe 1. Damien, the YI hub is great at the moment. You're missing all these people who have only been members of the party for a hot minute, all trying to make meals of them leaving. King of Europe 1. Hope the door doesn't hit them on the way out. Ha ha. Capital letters. Morris Minor. Let's not get too romantic about it. It's people who. Oh, sorry, IT. It's people who make IT work. Sorry, Morris Minor.
I actually want to respond to that guy because he made a good point. I was saying that to Brain recently. I said to him that his software is a good idea, but if he doesn't have anything else around that, it's not going to be enough. And so he does seem to be on board with that. He does believe that, we need the software, but we also need more than just the software. We need an infrastructure around that and people who are willing to work on things. I think software will just make the job a lot easier, rather than needing people to plan and people to organize and all that. You've got software that can manage a lot of the research and planning around things. And the person could just go out and do the job and the software will handle the rest. You still need people to do the job, though.
But what our actual plan is to have clowns down drains. So that that's what IT is all about. It's all a conspiracy. That's how we're gonna. Well, no, actually, I don't want to make a joke about that. That's too risky.
I've just heard an announcement from Richard Brain.
I mean, it is clown world.
He's now announced that it'll now be official UKIP policy to colonize space. The HMS Batten will leave Battenport to traverse the galaxy and found Battenland on planet Batten. So
I know
good
exactly
news.
where that comment came from.
Okay. Paul J. If you are not afraid of talking about Islam, join For Britain. If you are scared of the media, join Brexit Party. UKIP is less democratic than the EU. I think he means than the EU. How do we respond to that?
Well, it won't be anymore because with the NEC, some of the NEC elections coming up in November, I think it's for at least half of them. I think a good chunk of them are probably going to get booted out over the Batten issue. And as for the Islam, I think if there's one thing to take away from the Vaca interview or Vaca interview, however you pronounce his name, Vacha, fine.
We bloody interviewed the guy.
I've been calling him Vaca. Vaca.
Yeah, every time you keep calling him Vaca. I'm like, what are you doing?
Fine, it's Vaca or Vacha.
Vacha.
We're not posh enough for this, Damien. We're geezer kid.
True. Wow.
What I was going to say, the one thing to take away from his particular interview was his his phrase on walking on water and knowing where the stones are. It's like we can absolutely tackle the issue of radical fringe Islam, but I think we have to come at it a little bit smarter than what we have been doing, and that just so we don't accidentally put ourselves in awkward situations. But I think there's no reason to back away from that issue at all. We can still absolutely campaign against those issues.
Yeah, absolutely. Grooming gangs is probably one of the biggest scandals of the country in the past 100 years when it comes to social issues. And then obviously, Islamification, Bradford, Luton, and all these other shitholes. Someone needs to talk about this problem. I think there's nothing wrong in saying I don't want the rest of the country to go the direction of Bradford, in my opinion. Something like I can't remember what the figure is now, but apparently a quarter of Muslims in Bradford are inbred because they can't stop shagging each other's cousins.
I did see that one group, and I think I'm quoting Gavin McGuinness on this. He came out with this stat of 73%. I think it was one group. It was 73% were marrying a second cousin or closer.
That's the figure I was trying to remember. I'm not sure if it's that high, but I know it's pretty damn high.
I think that was a group in London, but I'm not 100% sure. But that was Gavin McGuinness or McKines who had that fact. Or I don't know. He's become an SJW now, hasn't he?
In fact, no. What are you talking? Take that back.
Isn't it Wavin McInnes or something? He had that. He's got the new personality thing.
Oh, he does like it. He does like a Mickey take where he pretends to be his brother Miles McGuinness, and he's
that's one.
Yeah, no, Gavin McInnes is my absolute hero, and I actually used to be a member of the Proud Boys, and those guys are funny, man. I'm not a member now, but yeah, we used to go to all the Tommy protests. Come on, Tommy.
Somewhere there's someone at MI6, and they've got a little picture of you, Damien, and they're going, "Do you know what? This is the problem with this country. This guy."
Well, I actually got into the Sun newspaper, one of the Tommy demos, when he went to jail, and it's like me with a sign which says something like "Down with the police state" with like an Islamic crescent or something.
Oh dear. Okay, back to the comments. Sammy Butcher says,
sorry, just to chime in about Damien talking about integrity earlier. There's a Kipper Central article about it, so it should be a bit more concise about what it's about. So if you want to go check up on it, go to Kipper Central, and it should be the most recent article.
Okay, come back to the comments. Sammy Butcher says, loving the hats, and well, we do try. King of Europe 1 says, but who will serve our coffee at Pret? And it shows how working class I am. I don't know what Pret is. Is
Pret a Manger?
What is it? I don't know.
You've clearly never been to London.
No, well, I went to London once, and someone came out of the restaurant and went, "You're uggling up our steps. Can you move?" And I was like, "Oh, wow,
fucking hell,
London, the city for all." And then I never went back. I watched a play once, and I was like, "God, these people are fucking awful." No,
these are the issues which we're going to start talking about. Stuff like this.
Freedom.
In it, an Irish Nirvana. That might be an Irish Nirvana actually. If they're Indian. But anyway, an Irish Nirvana, I think that is. Regarding the economy issue, isn't Deutsche Bank still on the edge of collapse? More importantly, the euro was collapsing, right? I could answer that. When he said 20k deposit, no chance for a house. Interestingly enough, can I answer that just quickly? Because I happen to know something about this. The reason that we never went into the euro was because of the way our financial markets were constructed in the first place. And our housing market, as bloody irritating as it is, because of the way the derivatives and the options work on it, we couldn't link up with the euro and we couldn't link up economically with Europe. Most of the countries that went in the EU couldn't really do that either. And it's why Spain and Greece had a very, very bad time. Because one of the things you do is you leverage against your currency. But you can't do that if your currency is actually valued at more than it should be, in effect. So that their value of currency was bolstered by the euro, but nothing in Greece or Spain really reflected that. And all of their markets felt it, and it really, really did hurt them in 2008 in the recession. So yeah, the euro can go at any minute. It was a bad idea when it was formed. It will be a bad idea until probably the time it dies, or the only countries in it are those that have relatively similar economies in terms of strength.
Yeah. As long
And
as
it-
Forest can get us out before it collapses, I'm happy. I
And
don't
it's
care when
been-
it collapses, as long as we can get out beforehand.
Yeah. And well, the euro has been an absolute catastrophe, especially when it comes to countries like Greece, Spain, Portugal. I've spoken to Spanish people, and one of them said that, there's people living in caravans in business parks and stuff like that because they cannot afford the cost of living. It's actually quite dire. Like, if you saw how some of these people are living, it's pretty damn sad. And it's all because the euro is being kept high in value, because of the strong German economy, which means Spain and Greece can't make their economies competitive. So yeah, it's been an absolute disaster.
Well, actually, and on top of that, it was going into that euro, and then effectively people selling deals to themselves in the in the derivatives and the options market just before 2008, when the banking crisis occurred. That really did sink everything, and there hasn't really been I don't feel there's been a response to that, and that's maybe something that UKIP should look at. We haven't really
What's that?
responded.
Out of the way. What should UKIP look at?
Basically,
Well, we're not going to wait for you, Michael, just because you decided to go outside the room.
effectively, the causes of the banking crisis, they've been addressed somewhat. But basically, the concept before them was too big to fail, because a lot of these organisations, I won't mention any because I really don't want to get done for slander or something, but a lot of these organisations were effectively the biggest organisations in the world at the time, and the idea was, well, they're too big to fail, they won't go. And basically the equity, which is the difference between
With all respect, Matthew, I think you're boring some of our audience.
I really am. Can I come back to the comments section then? Sorry, because I've just had a momentary aneurysm as well.
Let's just remind people, in case anyone's tuning in right now, we're crab dancing for the fact that Richard Brain has just won the UKIP leadership, and it looks like we're going to have a glorious 30 years probably of Brain. The Brain dynasty has begun. UKIP, we have no direction to go now except up, in my opinion.
The reign of Brain has begun, people.
And let's remind ourselves that he will be making Gerard Batten as deputy. So crab dance on the NEC. We have the NEC elections. Yeah, get the claws out, boys. we have the NEC elections in November, so we're definitely going to be knocking a few boys off the top there, boys and girls, and getting some proper loyal populist nationalists, I would say, on the NEC. So we never have the disgraceful decision as to what happened to Batten like last time.
The great thing about Brain becoming leader, and now, well, not I say now, but with the NEC election, at least for half of them, I think, coming up in November. It's like this is the perfect time for UKIP to like fully reboot itself. This is like the optimal time to do it, and that so it's like I say, it's onwards and upwards from here, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Okay, comment section, jump in whether you feel you need to, but we're quite a bit behind. Should UKIP change its name when we leave the EU?
Yes, we're going to become the Gerard Batten Party. How about that?
Okay.
No, I don't think we need to change the name. Richard made a good argument for this on one of our last Kipper streams, I think on the first one actually, where we want independence from all sorts of things, including the EU, from Islam and Islamic extremism, from any sort of supranational organizations, whether it be the European Court of Justice and all that kind of bollocks. So
Yeah,
we have a lot of things to still be independent over.
yeah, I would say the independence in UKIP will change. Its meaning will change from simply being independent from Europe to being more broad and being more about individualism and just allowing people to be like live the lives that they want to be and not have to be oppressed by whether it be political correctness or blasphemy laws and all that crap. It'll have a more broad term now within the party, I think, going forward.
Yeah, and I have these cork boards just behind me on the wall. You won't be able to see them, but I was going through some of my old documents and stuff, and I managed to find an old leaflet from War Plan Purple, and War Plan Purple is the UKIP arm of the Liberalists, which basically argue for, it says here, individual rights, democracy, economic freedom, freedom of speech, self-reliance, blind justice, secularism, and these are things we can all put on the agenda under Brain leadership, because Brain is very much a liberal when it comes to freedom of speech, economic freedom, all this kind of stuff. So it'll be good to have someone who is so in touch with the issues we care about and putting them forward at the forefront.
Yeah, definitely.
Daniel Marsden says, "Why is everyone wearing shades?" Well, it's one of those days.
Party time, baby.
Yeah, Richard Brain has been elected leader, so it's either shades or fedoras or both. That's what we have to do. That's just the rules on the Kipper
That's going to
stream.
be the rule from now on. Like whenever it's party time, get the shades and the fedoras out.
Yeah. In fact, I'm making an announcement on the Kipper stream. We all have to wear fedoras and shades for at least a week to celebrate Brain's victory. How about that?
Oh God.
Even if you have to go to work, I still want you wearing that fedora.
I'm not working with these shades. I can barely see out of them at the moment.
What's he do? Taxi driver.
I was like, is it a left turn? Oh God, it's a van.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. An Irish Nirvana and Morris Minor were basically echoing your points on UKIP's name there. Paul J says UKIP dance around Islam issue. UKIP is divided between those down the middle and those who are afraid to discuss Islam and those who aren't. Oh, down the middle between those who are and those who aren't. Well, perhaps this election will address that. Perhaps it won't. Ellie Kim hasn't heard that Brain has won. Sorry, Joseph Sophia, Ellie Kim. Richard Brain has won. Okay. And that's for anyone else who's joined.
I think we all know that Richard Brain's won at this point.
A lot of people in the chat apparently don't, so we're letting them know. Oh no, actually they've told him. Let's keep going.
Okay, good. For anyone who doesn't know, Richard Brain has won. He is the UKIP leader. Okay.
We need a big sign or something.
He's the supreme leader of UKIP right now.
Being taken Morris Minor says being taken seriously is an optics thing, and it doesn't work to pursue that too strongly. Regarding the I in UKIP, independence is strongly linked to nationalistic feelings, so is positive. Okay.
Well, that's in response to a comment Jay said. My only concern is that the name won't be taken seriously.
I would say that would be true if we were to revert back to the old ways of how UKIP used to be, where it was too focused on leaving the EU and kind of just looking all shiny in that. I think that probably would have been the case, but that's not anymore. That's not going to be the case with UKIP anymore, Brain.
We're just going to be hardcore British patriotism for the match.
Yeah,
Red, white, and blue nationalism, baby.
with a bit of purple in there.
A regular commentator, Tommy Horsfield, says this party is. I might pronounce that wrong. This party is ruined. Lol. Okay,
Yeah,
Tommy.
He's
Okay.
Everybody's entitled to their opinion.
Yep.
he's
And I read it out on stream, so there you go.
yeah, he's a long-time critic of Batten and Richard Brain, and
What was
I've
the
seen
name?
him post that everywhere. So he clearly wants to make a point out of it.
Tommy Horsfield.
Oh yeah, I know.
But it's basically horse without an E, so I don't
Yeah.
quite know how to do that. Emmanuel Hugeveen, sorry, I'm guessing that's Dutch or French or something. Belgium, perhaps. One with an absolute majority. That's pretty strong mandate. That's a pretty strong mandate. And in the comments section, if anyone's watching, hang on, what's going on here? Yeah, in the comments section, if anyone's watching, the beach dancer is giving former results to out to everyone about former election
The
results.
2017 election,
So,
but let's
yeah.
not go back into that
So
history.
if you
As
scroll-
Roger Stone says, the past is fucking prologue. On to the future, baby, and we're gonna have a brain future.
Big brain future.
Big brains, big IQs, and big policies. That's the future of UKIP right now.
Yeah.
Emmanuel
We'll display the results over the stream so that people can see them.
If UKIP, and then a comment from King Europe 1, if UKIP cared about polls, it would have never been Eurosceptic for 20 years of its life. Good point there, King of Europe. Good point.
I need to go for 5 minutes.
Because Euroscepticism was niche and unpopular. But not anymore. Not anymore, boys. Someone was asking about the current membership level. Last time I knew it was around 28,000, but I suspect it will drop to probably around 25,000. But
I think we were hovering around 25. I think it'll probably be more like 23. So I think we dropped to 25.
23. Well, if we can keep it above the 20,000 level, I'll be pretty happy with that, because there will no doubt be so many people so bitterly disappointed that Batten was blocked from standing. So it was inevitable that we were going to lose a lot of people.
Yeah, like I put the request back in to rejoin YI, and I'm just thinking, I remember a lot of certain people saying they would leave if a certain person didn't win. I'm just like, is there going to be anybody there to actually take my request so I can rejoin?
Yeah, well, we'll see. And I think we'll see a bit of a reshuffle in Young Independents, which should be good. I'm actually going to have to bow out in 5 minutes because I've got to go to bloody work. But
yeah, it was good to jump in on a short impromptu stream.
Yeah. Oh, your mum's making an appearance again, Michael. And you're not
yeah, she was delivering me some toast.
You're not telling her to go away this time. That's good.
Because I wanted her to come here so she can give me some toast.
What have you got on your toast, Michael?
Peanut butter.
Peanut butter. That's a good
nice
choice.
simple, never fails.
Yeah. What else do we have to say about Brain? Big Brain, as he's known.
Are we wrapping up? Just out of curiosity.
Well, how about we just briefly summarize our own views on where we think Brain's going to take the party in the next year or so?
Okay. Does anyone want to go first?
I guess I may as well.
Go on.
I mean, based on what he said about software and all that, I kind of think that what he's going to end up doing is he's going to probably put together various teams to work on things that either he's not an expert in or things they think can be focus, which will obviously include software for him. So I'm hoping to be on that team because I do software development. But I think what he'll end up doing is building a bunch of software to help people out and bring people together in the party, help them get their voices heard, and probably reforming a bit of some of our processes. I'm very biased because I've got my own views on where I think the party should go, and I might think because Brain is my choice, I'm going to end up thinking that's what he's going to do. But I think I'm not too sure Batten will have as much influence on his direction. though it will be hard to tell, to be honest. But I don't think that it's necessarily needed because, I think that Brain has similar ideas as Batten and will probably keep us going the path that we already were going and just refine the processes, make it more efficient. Because a lot of the problem has been how things are run, how people I've still heard nothing from my branch chairman in my area, and that kind of stuff that shouldn't happen. Everyone should be hearing from the branch chairman, or they should be able to at least have a branch that they can go to, or other UKIP members in their area. And I think that Brain's probably going to improve a lot of that and help UKIP members feel like they've actually got a part in the party.
Good stuff. Yeah, I believe he'll do all that. I also believe he'll put more into the heart of UKIP people like Sargon of Akkad, which will be good because he does a lot of great campaigning work for us and getting the young people involved and motivated. He'll also keep Gerard fully on the cause, and that will keep the hardcore Batanistas such as myself happy and happy to be involved in UKIP. So I think he'll be very good at uniting those two wings in UKIP, talking about the obvious things such as Brexit, but also talking about the fundamental issues which we are facing in the next decades, which is Islamic extremism and grooming gangs and things like that. So he's just going to be great for bringing the people we want to bring together and talking about the issues we want talked about. So he is the unity candidate, in my opinion.
Right, well, I guess I better go then, since Matthew has vanished. Yeah, my view on Brain is that he's going to be. I think he's the perfect candidate, and obviously that's come from a biased position because I believe the best way forward for the party is to have a visionary in front, and Brain's definitely that visionary. I think I would agree with Kentley that Batten will probably not have quite as much influence. Well, not maybe influence, but be quite as active as he used to be. And that I think he'll serve as a very good guidance role for Brain, like going forward, and he'll give him exactly the information he needs on like hard situations. I think his software idea is brilliant. I think anything to encourage and help those on the ground with campaigning and canvassing is like the best way forward. And that, because I agree with pretty much all the other candidates in that the grassroots is the way to go. That is the best way forward, and it's what's going to get members active and committed to the party again. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it, and I think well done to all the other candidates for putting all the work in and that, and campaigning as hard as they did. But I think the right candidate won. I think the visionary is the path forward for post-Brexit Britain, and that's me out.
And one thing I just want to mention quickly is Richard is a fantastic speaker, and having him on the airwaves speaking well and speaking in a good way about the things we want spoken about is going to be a massive benefit to us. We don't stress this enough, I think. Having someone who's just good at, has the gift of the gab and speaks well is a massive part of us getting success. And I think Richard will be perfect at doing that. He's the best speaker, I think, after maybe Gerard in the whole party. But yeah, Matthew, we're just finishing up saying how we think Richard's leadership will be and the massive glory and success he will bring to the party.
Well, hopefully it will be, hopefully it'll be quite transformative. But I mean,
do you want to make final comments before we finish off our stream?
Oh, have we definitely done all the questions?
Oh, well, read us a couple questions and then give us your final statement.
I want to eat my toast, man.
Okay, so the last questions we've got is, what's the membership number at? We don't know. No one knows.
Probably around 23 to 25,000, but we're not.
Okay, Damien knows it's that. Batten for NEC, Chairman.
Chairman, possibly. I'm not so sure though. My guess would be probably not Freddie, but we'll have to see. Alan Craig is a good shout for chairman.
Yeah. Okay. Any future for Sargon under Brain? Yes, we can answer that. Basically, yes.
Brain loves Sargon. Sargon loves Brain. There'll definitely be a lot of Brain Sargon crossover for sure.
Where
Come
are
on,
we?
quickly, because I need to go to work.
Oh, okay. Okay, sorry, anyone else. Okay, here's my final thoughts. Yeah, hopefully it'll be transformative. Hopefully, I've been thinking about writing some policy arguments, but I haven't. And I didn't because if maybe 3, but maybe 2 of the candidates won, there was no point in me even sending them. And now Brains in, maybe there is. Well, I'm going to send them. So hopefully it will be quite transformative. Hopefully we'll come up with some more interesting things. Hopefully we'll bring the heat to the Brexit Party and the Conservatives, and even better, Labour, and maybe even the Lib Dems, because the Lib Dems at some point have to concede their positions. So yeah, hopefully it's going to be a transformative period. Hopefully we're going to rebuild again, but bigger, better.
Brainier.
Faster, stronger.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, let's just be positive and keep going, and hopefully some of the situations work themselves out pretty quick in the next couple of days.
And join the brainwave. Thank
Yep.
you, and welcome to another. Wait, not welcome, and thanks for tuning in to another edition of the Kipper stream. Okay, see you later, guys.
See you.
Join the brainwave.